Welcome to Point of Sale Part 4. I'm going to start by going into Point of Sale and then number 1, enter invoices. So on this invoice, I'm going to do a price override. I'm going to press my enter key to choose my customer and then press my enter key through my shipping address. I'm going to type in the part number, and first I want to enter the number of pieces that I want to sell. So I'm going to type that in, press my enter key so my cursor's on the next line. I'm then going to hold down my control key and hit an R as in Robert, and that's the code to do a price adjustment in SBC. It's going to ask you for the line number, and those line numbers are over here on the left hand side of the screen. I'm going to press the 1 and hit my enter key, and it's going to give me a window that includes all of my price adjust reasons. Now these reasons are customizable. Yours will probably be different than those that you see here. So I'm going to choose one of my selected price adjustment reasons, press my enter key. First it's going to ask me for my new sell price. So I'm going to type in $7, press my enter key, and then it's going to ask me, in this case, for my competitor. So I'm going to type in my competitor name, and I can track that information in the future. It next asks me whether I want to have a new list price, and you'll want to make sure that you read these boxes on the screen, because the first one will ask you for the sell, and it will seem like it's asking you the same thing, especially if your list happens to match your sell. In some cases, this is asking you if you want to change your list price. It's up to you whether you want to do that. Some people would change their list, some people would simply leave it alone. I'm going to press the enter key, and that is going to list a reason on my document as to why my price has been discounted. Now, depending on the settings that you've set up in the background, when you set up these price override reasons, that will determine whether or not these will print out on the invoices for your customers. I'm going to type in another part, press my enter key. I'm going to sell one of these, and I'm going to do a price override on this one. Control R. I'm going to choose line number 4, press my enter key, and I am going to go to wrong price. Perhaps it was just priced incorrectly. I'm going to type my correct price, press my enter key. Again, since this is not a competitor match, it goes simply from change my list or change my cell to change my list. I can change my list here if I want to. I don't need to. I'm going to press the enter key. I'm going to do one more. So I'm going to type in a CF110. I'm going to choose one. I'm going to sell one. And I am going to do a price override here. I'm going to price override number 8. I'm going to say wrong price. And instead of me entering a physical price, I want to perhaps enter a percentage. So to do a percentage, I'm going to type in a % minus 10, hit my period for 10.00, and press my enter key. Then it's going to ask me for my new list price. I'm not going to change my list price. When I press my enter key, it's going to calculate what that percentage was, and it's going to do the math for me and display that information on my screen. So those are a number of ways that you can do a price override. Okay. So a few things that you probably saw pop up while I was creating these. First, when I type in a part that exists under multiple lines, you'll see a duplicate entries message pop up. This happens all the time if you have part number 100. And you pick which part number that you'd like to choose. The information on the right-hand side is customizable, so yours may be different than mine. You can include any information that you want in that particular in these display screens. I'm going to click on the choice that I'd like to sell, and I'm going to press the enter key. Okay, I'm going to do another one, CF110. I'm going to choose letter A, and I'm going to enter the number of pieces ordered here, and I don't have sufficient quantity on hand in this case. So a message is going to pop up, or a series of boxes are going to pop up at the bottom of the screen. So there are a number of boxes here, and I would suggest that you choose one or two and use them always. You don't need to know how to use every single one of these. But let me run through them so that you know how they work. So the Q on the far left is to enter the shipped quantity. That is simply allowing me to click on here and say I'd like to ship a certain number of these. perhaps I'd like to back order them, especially if I allow back orders for this customer, or I'd like to track a lost sale. We always recommend that you track lost sales because your purchasing department can use that information in the future to make sure that you start to stock parts that you previously might have lost sales for. I'm going to type in that part number again. And the next is a yes to sell some. I don't ever click on this button. If you click on this button, it allows you to press your up arrow and to sell as many as you perhaps have in stock, or make another selection as to what you want to use or which decision that you want to make. I'm going to change my number of pieces ordered, press my enter key, and get my message to pop up again. The A to sell all is, I don't care what's going on the computer. I am going to sell everything. I have them in my hand. Perhaps my quantity on hand was just wrong. In my opinion, the two buttons that you want to use, unless there's another scenario going on, are the enter shipped quantity, so you can enter the number that you're shipping and then the number that you're either back ordering if you back order for your customers or losing, and then the A to sell all. If you choose any of them, you can go up and adjust the quantities, so you can do the same thing by choosing any of these buttons. So really just pick one or two and use them continuously. I'm going to click on the A to sell all button, and that's the I don't care what the computer says. I want to sell these anyway, and I have them in my hand, or I'm able to get them fairly easily. I'm going to type in the part number again. N to change the quantity ordered pops your window or pops your cursor back over to the ordered and allows you to change the number of pieces that the customer is ordering. Unless they're standing in front of you, you may want to actually put in the number of pieces that they ordered originally onto the ticket so that they know that although perhaps you can't ship those to them immediately, you did hear what they asked for. So I don't suggest that people use the change ordered quantity unless you have a reason to or the customer is standing in front of you and you want to get right back to that field. T to change transaction code is a button that's available so that you can perhaps change the transaction code for this line to a buyout. We have a number of customers who they're not looking at the quantity on hand field when they enter the parts to the screen. They press the enter key and get here. And instead of going back to the ordered number and changing it or making any other adjustments, they want to be able to right from here do a buyout. So they would click on the change transaction code. I don't have a buyout transaction code set up, so I'm not going to click on that. But it allows you to change that transaction code right from this area, and then you can change that to a buyout, or if you have another applicable transaction code, you can change it to that at that time. The next button is your lost sales update. Now, as I said, we really suggest that you update your lost sales because if you have a series of parts that you continuously lose and the purchasing department never finds out about it, they're never going to order those parts in, so you stop losing these. It's a vicious cycle. So if you update your lost sale file by clicking on this button, it's going to actually take the part right off of your ticket so your customer doesn't have the information sitting on their invoice. But it allows your purchasing department to get a report as often as they like of those parts that you continuously lose. And they get a report of the number of times that those parts are lost. So if they're lost one random time, perhaps you don't want to stock them. But if they lose them on a weekly basis, your purchasing department probably wants to know. I'm going to type in my CF110 one more time, press my enter key, and the last one is to transfer an item. Now, if you have multiple stores, you have the ability to transfer items by clicking on this button. I'm going to click on it. And if I had multiple stores, which I don't have them set up currently, it's going to give me a whole listing of the stores that I can transfer to and from, and it's going to let me transfer those. So I'm going to press the enter key here just to get off of this screen. You'll notice that it says 1 transferred from store 2. I'm going to go through how a transfer actually works in the next video, but I just wanted you to know what all of those buttons mean. Okay, so if you have any additional needs or wants when you're in point of sale, if you click on the help button in the lower right hand corner, you get options of all of the things that your function keys can do. Control B allows you to access your shipped, lost, and back ordered quantities for certain parts if you want to be able to jump to a part to access that information. Control-C allows us to enter remarks. We saw that in a previous video. Control-D allows me to jump to a part that I want to alter the part information or the quantity ordered. If I scroll down a little bit, Control-R allows me to get to that price adjust. That's the one that we looked at before. Control-X allows me to get to an alternate part number. I'll show you that later. So there are numerous control function keys and shift button keystroke combinations that can get you to other information in the system or that can help you do things while you're in point of sale. So as I said before, my suggestion is you get to know point of sale. And once you get to know it, take a look at our help screens and see if there aren't functions back here that can help you or that would be helpful in a certain invoice that you're making with a customer. I'm going to press any key, click on that button, and it's going to pop me off of there. And I am going to actually cancel this ticket. So I hit the F8 key and verify cancel yes. Okay, I've set up a number of my customers with different messages so that you can see some of the messages that will pop up in point of sale after we've talked about the quantity on hand insufficient message. So I'm going to type in customer number 102, press my enter key, and this customer is set up with some authorized buyers. We can set this up for customers who just want to know which one of their installers called you to make a purchase. Maybe they don't have them set up as different ship-to addresses or set up as different accounts, but they just want to know who called. This is a very helpful area for you to enter authorized buyers if someone's been perhaps fired negatively and you want to make sure that you're only selling to their approved employees. Some of your employees might not know what the situation is, so if you use the authorized buyers field, they can make sure that if they're not on this list, they don't sell to that person. This authorized buyer information is in the AR information screens. If you go to F and then 3 and then menu selection M as in Mary, you can set up as many authorized buyers as you'd like for a particular account. I press the enter key, and actually then when I hit the home, you'll notice that in the received by area that person's name is displayed there and it does print on the invoice. Okay, I'm going to delete my account or my ticket. I'm going to go to account number 103. This account 103 has invoice messages popping up. So I've said invoice message to clerks, please ask for a check before a purchase. Maybe this person is overdue. I don't want to make a fuss out of it, but I'm the AR manager, so I want to make sure that money is coming in where it's possible. So this message will pop up and only clerks or anyone in point of sale will see these messages. They don't print anywhere. They're simply a message from your administration to you telling you information about the account. Perhaps in the example that I gave before, someone was fired and they want to make sure that you're not selling material to that person under that account. So these windows can show up to give you, the clerk, more information about what's going on with this account before you start the ticket. Okay, account 104 I have set up, and he requires a PO number. So we haven't really talked about purchase order numbers yet. And I'm going to go into that here in a second, but if you press the up arrow key, you'll see that on the right hand side of the screen, my purchase order number field sits there. If in the account record I have a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that number is going to show up all the time in that purchase order number field, and I can simply follow through the invoice. I don't have to do anything. If that purchase order number is actually a yes, then it means that I'm requiring a purchase order number for this ticket. Now, when I get into the body of the ticket after I've created the invoice or after I've started the invoice, I can either hit my up arrow key, go up and add that right now, or I can press my home key and it's going to require a purchase order number at that point. So you're going to see this window pop up. Now, once I type in a purchase order number and I press my enter key, if for whatever reason I need to get off of that screen and later I come back and need to change my purchase order number, on the last page of point of sale, if you recall, we had the 3 pages. The buttons on the right, which I'm going to go over in a minute, include a button that says PO number. So if I click on that, it's going to contain the number that I entered. And if I need to make a change to it, I can do that. I can make a change as many times as I pull this ticket up for edit. And then if I need to add a purchase order number after the fact, I would need to do that through the reprint screens, which there's a video on how to do that in another location. Okay, I'm going to kill this ticket and I'm going to go to account 105. 105 is popping up a message for me that says the account is currently stopped. So what this means for me is that for whatever reason, whether they owe us money or whatever the scenario is, this account has been stopped. I have 2 options. I can press enter to start over a brand new ticket, or I can click on the press for cash ticket and I can sell this customer items under a cash, as a cash sale. Depending on how badly this account situation is, we have the ability to either tell you that this guy can pay for his items with cash, or he can't pay for anything at all, or he can't buy anything at all, excuse me, and the only thing that he can do is make payments. So in this case, if I click on the press for cash ticket, it allows me through, but then when I hit the home to tender key, the only thing that I can do is pay with immediate cash. I can't put anything on a charge account. Account 106 is the one that I was mentioning that said, I can't do anything for this guy. Now, this is saying, do not sell to this person. Do not sell to him in a cash ticket. Do not put him under a cash point of sale. We need to handle this person's account before he purchases anything more from us, from our company. So in this case, I don't even have an option of what I want to do here. I'm going to click the enter key and it's going to pop me up and ask me for another customer number. The one and only thing that I can do for this person is change his transaction code to a P, type in my clerk code, and then type in his customer number. I can always take money for this guy. We're never going to stop you from taking payments on a customer that's stopped. But in this case, he can't even create a ticket and pay with cash. He needs, the only thing that we're allowing him to do is make a payment. Okay. Now you've seen this message a number of times. Ticket has a total of 0. The ticket has a total of 0 message is going to pop up on multiple scenarios. It's either going to come up on the screen if I have nothing listed on the ticket. Maybe I need to add a freight cost and nothing else. So the ticket has a total of 0 can pop up in that situation. It can also pop up if you've sold something and returned something and the ticket still has a total of 0. It will show up either way. It's not necessarily blocking anything from you or blocking you from doing anything. It's simply allowing you the information that this ticket has a total of 0. And I'm going to say yes to continue. Okay. Now for this account 107, I've put a credit limit for this customer. So if I type in a 4D1, press my enter key, and I sell 4 of them to him, I'm going to hit my A to sell all. His ticket exceeds $1,000. His credit limit happens to be $1,000. So when I click on the home to tender key, I'm going to get a message that looks like this: credit limit exceeded. Enter a password to continue as a charge ticket. If I know the password to enter as to allow me to continue as a charge ticket, I can enter that right now. I just type it in, and that's going to allow me to go ahead and add this to his charge account. I can sell these items to him as cash. I can put the ticket on hold and perhaps then take a payment from him, or have him talk to my accounting department and then they make adjustments to his account so that I can continue with this ticket. Or I'm going to cancel and it's going to throw me out of the ticket completely, voiding the ticket and allowing me to start over. So I'm going to click on the cancel button here and it's going to start me over from scratch. Okay, I'm going to type in this customer one more time. And I'm going to go through the buttons that are on the last page of point of sale, and then that's all I'm going to do for this video here. So when I press the home key to go to the tender, again, I'm getting my ticket has a total of 0 message. There are new buttons on the right-hand side of the screen. So the first button is, do I want to email this ticket? Now the reason that we put this here specifically is if you want to email a quote to a customer, or really if you want to email a finalized invoice. But the request was made so that we could email quotes out right from point of sale. So I'm going to click on the Control E to email. If this account had a set email, it would show up in this listing. Otherwise, I can simply type in the email, press the Enter key, and then once I finalize this ticket, whether I'm simply putting it on hold or completing the transaction, it's going to send that email out. The next button, Control G, General Info, throws me back up into the first page of point of sale. If you recall, we were discussing there are 3 main sections to point of sale. It throws me up here if I need to adjust something up in this area. Most of the time, the reason that we do this is because people want to adjust the ship to information after the fact. So I can come up here and then hit another keystroke and go to my shipping information if I wanted to, or I can really up arrow to anywhere in the screen. Maybe I needed to change the phone number. To get back down the page, I'm going to hit my home key and then my home key one more time. Okay. The third button is that one we were just talking about, the PO number button. When I click on that, do I want to enter a purchase order number or edit a purchase order number that was already in that listing or in that field? Last 5 pick tickets allows me to pull up the last 5 tickets that are still held as a pick. This was a customized program that was added for one of our customers. You may or may not use it, but that's what that button allows you to do. The Alter Ship Date button allows me to alter the shipping date so that I can change the day that these items are due if it's a house charge ticket for certain customers. Perhaps I am going to be delivering items. I want to finalize the ticket now, but I want to change the ship date to the day that my suggested delivery date. So I can make an alteration to that ship date if I'd like to do that. Change ticket format you're not going to use unless you know what you're doing and know what your options are, but we do have a number of different ticket formats. So in the case that you need to change a ticket format, you would click on this button to do so. If you click on this button, know that there are a number of ticket formats, but that you should have been given the new ticket format code. So as I say, if you don't know what that does, or if you haven't been given another ticket format code, I would suggest ignoring that button. The next button is to change a printer. This is very helpful. If you look over at your printer and you see that one of your employees has just started to print out 1,000 pieces of paper, and you have an upset customer standing in front of you, if there's another printer in the office that you can print to, click on the Change Printer, enter the appropriate printer number, and press your Enter key, and it will print just this invoice, just this time, to that other printer. You print it, you go and grab it, you hand it to the customer, and then everybody's happy. So the Change Printer button can be very helpful if you find that all of the printers around you happen to be busy. Shift F1 is how you change your customer. Shift F1 is also one of the keystrokes that's available in your help screens. So if I click on Shift F1, it's going to throw me back up to my customer number area. I can type in the customer number, press my Enter key, verify customer change, yes, and then it's going to throw me into the customer information and let me adjust it if I need to. If I don't, I'm just click on the Home key, and that's going to throw me back into my invoice. Now, if I don't know my customer's account number right then, when I click on this, I can space this out, press my Enter key, verify the change, yes, and then I can enter the name or the phone number of the account I'm trying to get to, and that will change my information as well. I'm going to click on the Home key to get back. Control R, bottom line discount. If you're giving military discounts, or Senior Citizens Day discounts. If you click on the bottom line discount, it's going to allow you to enter a pre-tax discount %. You enter that here and it will apply that to the total amount of the ticket. Remember, my ticket still has nothing on it. And then the lower right, the last, Shift F3 allows you to access the line items in your ticket. Now you can just as easily hit your up arrow a couple times to get there, so it depends on how fast you type. But that button will throw you back up into the body of your ticket. And then the very last button that's here is your Control B dated billing. Now there is logic in the background that is required before you allow a customer to use dated billing, but dated billing gives you the opportunity to sell something to a customer and have them receive payments on a monthly basis instead of getting billed for the entire ticket all at once. So you have a good customer who comes in, they want to buy $2,000 worth of merchandise, but they can't afford to pay you for all of that right now. You set up dated billing not only in the background screens, but you tell this customer's account record that they are allowed to do dated billing. You click on that button and it will allow you to split up the dated billing, split up the ticket total, the $2,000 ticket total, into $500 increments, $200 increments, whatever kind of increment that you want to make it. And if you don't have a whole number, you have the opportunity to tell it how many payments that you want to take, and it does the math for you. So that's available for your use if you'd like to use that. We don't send the system out with everyone being allowed to do dated billing because that's really a special scenario. So we leave that and we can show you how to do that if you're interested in learning. If you have any other questions at this time, please call 800-829-4722 or send us an email at sbctraining@autolog.com. Thank you for your time.